One for the John Deere fans today. We've got a 3350 and she's not very well. I'll just show you what she's doing. But just before I do that, if you're one of the 90% who watch but don't subscribe and you like these videos, then please subscribe, as it really helps me out on making more of these videos. She still sounds well, even though she is poorly. I don't think we'll have to do much more diagnosing to try and work out what's wrong with this. It's stone cold, that water, and you can see the what looks like steam coming out of it, but it's not steam because it's cold. The combustion gases, exhaust gases, coming out of the top of the radiator. So we've got combustion gases getting into the water jacket and then coming out the top of the radiator. So I think we're going to have to get the cylinder head whipped off this to have a look at the gasket. Right, we've got it in the workshop now. Really clean, good condition, this tractor. It's a credit to the owners, really. Really good tin work, it's not faded, paintworks mint on it. It's a pleasure to work on. To be honest, there's that much room on top of the engine. You could actually lift the cylinder head off probably with the bonnet on. You don't really need to take the bonnet off. A couple of panels on both sides. There's a gas strut with a pin on the front and the bonnet comes straight off. First job here, undoing a couple of brackets that hold the exhaust manifold and silencer on. That silencer's absolutely knackered and it's probably blown through, and that's why it sounds so good. We're on the other side now. We're taking the air intake pipe off from the air filter to the inlet manifold on the engine. Now I've got the bonnet off. It's a bit more dirty under the bonnet than it is on top of the bonnet, but everything's really easy to get to. It's pretty straightforward. It's a pleasure to work on, really, this tractor. Just doing all pipes and wires that run from the cab to the front of the tractor. We've got a bucket underneath draining the coolant out with the engine, but you can never quite get it all out, so it always ends up as a mess. You can hear the water draining there, even though you can't see it. We've got both batteries disconnected. On these tractors, they've got a battery under both steps. We've got the old Henry Hoover that my mum kicked out the house, that's been designated to the workshop now. Just hoovering all the rock cover around the injectors off, because even though we're taking the cylinder head off and we're taking other bits off, we don't want any big lumps of rubbish and dust and crap to fall in and get in them injector pipes. So we're trying to keep it clean, well, as clean as we can, really. Just undoing the rock cover here. We'll have a good look inside, see if we can see out, but I don't think there'll be anything wrong under here. They all feel alright. Undoing the injectors now. Absolutely, really tight. Whoever done them up last time definitely had the Weetabix that morning. The good thing about John Deere is I've done a couple of these now. You can undo all the injection pipes on the injector side, and then you can do the other end of the pipe on the injection pump, and they'll all come off in one lump. You don't have to take them off one at a time. You can take them off as a whole cluster. So that's a really good idea that John Deere come up with. John Deere's are very well made, to be fair. Everything's quite generously proportioned, and they sort of want to be fixed. Everything's made so that you can fix them. So I'm a Massey man through and through, but John Deere's are well made. I will give them that. They do have some really good ideas on them. Just undoing all the cylinder head bolts now, not really undoing them in any sort of pattern. You should really slack them off in the opposite order to that you do them up, but the excitement was getting to me to get them undone so I can have a look under that head. Got the engine crane pulled too, just got the strap and we've just lifted it off now. Bit of a wiggle, is it? It's a bit of tight fit on the back of that water pump there. But it does come. I think it's just snagged on a bolt that sticks through from the water pump. Drop it down a bit and turn it, and it just nearly falls out there. Be absolutely lost about that engine crane. It's a good one, that. It's an EPCO made in England engine crane. They don't make them anymore. Lots of water and oil pouring out the cylinder head. You can't really avoid that when you're undoing a cylinder head. You drain all the water out of it, and then as soon as you tip that head, all the water rushes out of it. Just having a good look now, see if we can see out dead obvious. That's water mixed with oil. Just give everything a quick wipe, and I think it's number 6. Look there, bit of gasket missing. And then also the liner. Oh, it's very clean there. Like it's been blowing past. If you look at all the other ones, they're all black. I think it's there, but we'll send the head off, get the head done, well, take it to the head place and see what they say about it, see if it needs skimming and pressure test it, make sure that's not cracked. And I'll take this old gasket off and I'll have a right good look at it and a good clean. I think it's there to there. Back on with the 3350 cylinder head gasket blowing. We've had the cylinder head skimmed, took that on Friday, got it back Tuesday. It's now Thursday, and when they skim the head, they polish it, and you get like a mirror sort of finish to it, and you can see yourself in it. And shiny metal doesn't take long before it starts to rust, so left it 2 days, been called out and on with other jobs and breakdowns and this, that and the other. So I've had to just shine the head up again with a little bit of like really fine emery just to get that shine back to it. Number 6 cylinder was just touching the cylinder head a little bit. The gasket's failed and the cylinder head is just like only a thou or two, but it's been enough for it to blow. And then you've had combustion gases from the cylinder, then going into the water jacket. And that's why when I turned it on that first time, even though the engine was cold, I took the radiator cap off. Absolutely, it was like a volcano. So I thought, to be honest, I thought it would have been more obvious when I took the head off, due to how severe the symptoms were to it. But obviously, when I first took it off, I couldn't really see anything, and it's only when I've looked closer that I've seen what it's done. And I took the gasket and showed the people who skinned the cylinder head, because they're the experts on the engine rebuild side of things, and they've told me the same really. So I'm quite confident that when we put this back together, it'll be right. The liners, I've measured the liner stick outs compared to the cylinder to the engine block, and the liners are all sticking out. They're well within spec to each other. There's not a high or a low one. They're all pretty good and all pretty much the same. Degreased the block, sucked off the big lumps of carbon on top of the pistons, but I'm not going mad with that. Engine's not really glazed up, considering it's done 11,000 hours. It's in pretty good nick really. Put a couple of guide studs in, so when we lower the head down, it goes down nice and level. The worst thing you could do is have the head and it sort of tip one way or the other, and you'll end up digging into the gasket and damaging the gasket, or damaging the oil feed up to the rocker cover. So it has to be a nice steady job, and oil the bolts, and we'll get it torqued up and start putting it back together. Just screwing in the 2 guide studs now. This will help the cylinder head go down nice and easily. Putting gasket on dry, that's what the manual says to do, so that's what we're doing. Seems to be a great debate around whether you put sealant on a cylinder head gasket or not, but I'm just doing as I'm told with this one. Cylinder head gasket sitting proud of all the liners, so when we clamp the head down, the gasket will crush and seal all the oil galleries, water jacket, combustion cylinders. Right, gasket's on now, lined up with them studs. We're just trying to put it in as carefully as we can here, on my own, because we don't want to knock anything and then a big lump of rubbish come down and sit in between the cylinder head and the engine block and then stop it from sitting flat. And then we're back to square one, and we're no better than when we started if it blows again. But with that engine crane, you've got really steady control. You can almost set it dropping, just creeping down slowly, so then you're free to check everything. It's a really good engine crane, that. Just oiling the bolts now. It says in the manual to oil the bolts, so you don't get any like resistance, any friction, to reduce the friction when you tighten them up. Workshop manual says to torque them up to 100 Newton meters for the first initial pull down of the bolts. I think that's quite a lot for the first step, so I'm going to start off at 50, go all the way around, and then probably go to 70 and then 100. Do it nice and evenly and nice and gently, and hopefully crush that gasket and get a good seal on everything. Just working our way around. You work from the inside in like a spiral direction to the outside with them when you tighten up the cylinder head bolts. That's what every cylinder head I've done. They've all been the same pattern, but they're still printed out, and just follow the manual when I'm doing them. You know it's right then. Right, they're all torqued up to 150 Newton meters now. I've gone around them twice at 150 Newton meters, about half an hour in between them. And now each bolt has then got to have 60 degrees of a turn. So I'm using this angle gauge, so set it at 0 and then pull it round until it's at 60 on every bolt. And then mark each bolt so you don't do the same one twice, you forget to do one. And then the head's all torqued down and done. Just oiling the rocker shaft there. Just ready to set the tappets. Rocker shaft's on now, torqued up to 47 Newton meters. Just set the tappets. We're at 18 on the exhaust and 14 thou on the intake. So we've barred the engine over and we've set them all now. Ready to put the rocker cover back on. Right, I've got new injectors in it. We've put the rocker cover shaft back on. Injection pipes are on. We've put new thermostats in it. We've filled it up with coolant. We've used proper John Deere Cool Guard, the genuine stuff. We've used all genuine parts on this. We've got new exhaust gaskets, which I'm doing here. New exhaust bolts. We're giving her a real birthday when it's in the workshop. We're not skimping on anything. We've also got a new exhaust silence for her as well, as the old one's shot, but she won't sound as good now though. Here we are, I've changed the engine oil as well, just for any bits of rubbish and stuff that have fallen down where we've been cleaning the cylinder block off. Here I'm just slacking off an injector. I've reconnected the batteries and we're ready to, big moment now, we're ready to try her. See if she'll fire up. It's the big moment of truth. Will it fire? No, the batteries are flat. To be fair, it has been stood a couple of weeks in the workshop since it first come in, so can't really blame it too much. Right, we've got it running now. We've put the batteries on charge for an hour, and it just fired straight up. Slacks injector off, got it running, tighten injector up, and it sounds really, really good. Undo the radiator cap now, and just check that it's not blowing out straight away like last time. We've put all the bonnet back on and panels now. We've took it back outside, and we're going to fire it up again. We're going to give it a good road test, make sure nothing leaks. Sometimes the injector leak off pipes, little rubber seals inside, and they can have a habit of leaking once you've disturbed them once. So we need to get it nice and hot, make sure the thermostat's open and all the coolant circulating around everywhere. And then if she's all good, the customer can come and pick it up and get some work done with it again. Thanks for watching.